Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into something absolutely huge for any business leader out there. It's a powerful, data-backed strategy for building the single most elusive thing in the digital world: real, genuine trust. All right, let's just jump right in here. This quote, it just nails the core problem that, let's be honest, every single one of us faces online. See, you're not getting curious explorers landing on your site. Nope. You're getting people who show up with their shields up, already skeptical because, they've been conditioned by decades of digital noise. And here's the thing, that defensiveness, that's not a user problem. It's an environment problem. So if we want to solve it, we first have to take a hard look at the hostile digital world that we as businesses have actually helped build. I mean, just think about it for a second. We've basically created an online arms race, right? You've got aggressive pop-ups and clickbait on one side, and then users on the other with their ad blockers and these super sophisticated mental filters. It all adds up to this really stressful, exhausting experience. And just slapping on another trust badge? Come on. That's just a band-aid on a much, much deeper problem. So what's really going on here? What's the root cause of all this stress and friction? Well, it boils down to this fundamental clash, a mismatch between our ancient biological brains and the cold, sterile digital worlds we're all forced to live in. And this is where it gets really fascinating. This contrast here, it shows the deep conflict we're all living through. Our brains are these incredible biological machines, right? Fine-tuned over millennia to feel at home in nature. But what do? We force them to operate for hours inside these digital boxes that are basically built on principles that are the total opposite of what our subconscious mind thinks is safe and easy. Okay, so the solution, it's not going to be another annoying pop-up or some new security icon. No way. We're talking about a complete paradigm shift, a whole new way of thinking about design that's actually rooted in our own evolutionary biology. Let's dive into how this builds a foundation for trust that's totally different. So this idea comes from the legendary Harvard biologist E.O. Wilson. And what he said was, this isn't just about us liking a nice view. It goes way deeper. He argued it's a powerful evolutionary adaptation. Think about it. For hundreds of thousands of years, our very survival depended on reading and understanding nature. So our brains are literally, and I mean literally, hardwired to relax and feel safe when we get those natural cues. And this is the key takeaway here. It is not about just slapping a pretty forest stock photo on your homepage and calling it a day. It's so much deeper than that. We're talking about weaving the subconscious language of nature, the patterns, the textures, the shapes, into the very DNA of your user experience to send this powerful, unspoken signal of safety and familiarity. Okay, this all sounds pretty cool in theory, right? But how does a design inspired by nature actually get someone to, click buy now? Well, it's not magic, it's science. It all comes down to a chain reaction of real, measurable responses happening inside the user's brain. Get this number. What you're seeing here, it's known as the fractal dimension, that our brains find incredibly easy to process. It requires almost zero mental effort. The patterns you see in trees, in clouds, in coastlines, they all fit right in this sweet spot. But it doesn't. Perfect squares and sharp, rigid corners. So by using these more natural, organic shapes in our designs, we're actually making it easier for our users' brains to process the page, which makes them feel way more relaxed. And this perfectly explains something called attention restoration theory. Think of it like this. Most websites demand your directed attention. It's like a mental battery that gets tired really, really fast. And when it gets tired, you get frustrated and you leave. That's your bounce rate. But biophilic design gives you these little micro breaks, these moments of soft fascination. It's like glancing at a plant. It's effortless, and it actually recharges that mental battery, keeping users on the page calm and engaged. All right, let's talk about what really matters to any business leader, the bottom line. This is where all this theory turns directly into return on investment. We're going to look at a super practical framework for doing this, and more importantly, the hard business metrics it can actually move. And look, this isn't some fuzzy, abstract concept. It's a clear, actionable playbook. You can start with direct connections, high-quality images or videos of nature, or you can use indirect connections, think organic shapes, natural textures. And it even comes down to how you use space, like having clear navigation and plenty of that calming, restorative white space. So here's the bottom line for any leader watching this. A user who feels calm, who isn't mentally exhausted, that user stays longer. They click on more things, and crucially, they are way more likely to trust you enough to actually become a customer. It's a straight line from creating psychological safety to seeing real business growth. And you don't have to take my word for it. This stuff is provable. Picture a simple A/B test. You keep everything else the same, the words, the price, the offer. The only thing you change is you swap out that cold corporate design for one with warm earth tones and soft rounded corners. What happens? Time and time again, you see a real statistically significant lift in your numbers. That is quantifiable ROI, plain and simple. Okay, let's wrap this all up. What's the big idea you should walk away with? What's the ultimate takeaway for your business strategy starting tomorrow? Look, biophilic design isn't just a pretty new aesthetic. It's not a nice to have. It is a strategic framework for engineering psychological safety. In a world that's just getting louder and more skeptical, creating a little corner of the internet that feels calm and clear, that is a massive competitive advantage. You're building trust on a deep, subconscious, biological level. So I'll leave you with this one question. In a marketplace that's just drowning in skepticism, are you designing for your user's biology, or are you fighting against it? Because the future isn't about who has the flashiest tech. It's about who remembers that their user is a human being first and a data point second. And designing for that person, for their innate biology, that's the most direct path to earning the only currency that really matters: genuine, lasting trust.